Into my heart an air that kills from yon far country blows. What are those blue remembered hills? What spires? What farms are those? And that is the land of lost content. I see it shining plain, the happy highways where I went, and cannot come again. Alfred Edward Houseman was a classical poet and scholar of the early 1900s, and in this particular poem, he harps about nostalgia. It's a feeling I'm sure literally every single human being on Earth is aware of. A feeling that is as heartwarming and uplifting as it is soul-crushing. The scariest thing about nostalgia for me is that it can be literally anything. The smell of a certain kind of food being cooked, the sound of a Game Boy being turned on. Seeing images from some old commercial from your childhood that you just barely remember.
Now your child can visit steamy jungles, grassy plains, and the dark depths of the oceans.
Here they come, screaming across the sky. It's lots and lots of jets and planes.
And now, our feature presentation.
It's a powerful feeling that is incredibly hard to shake off, which is probably why we're addicted to it. You don't have to look far to see remakes, reboots, remasters, re-releases of all of your favorite media from your childhood. And while we tend to get excited for these new releases and tend to look on them pretty favorably, it's different this time. We've become different people. We've picked up different habits, picked up different opinions, picked up different jobs, picked up different responsibilities. We can't go back to the way things used to be because we're not who we used to be. And because of that, all of these beautiful nostalgic moments will be just that. Moments. But who gives a fuck about all that nerd shit? Cause Tony Hawk's back, baby! We got 900s, we got McTwists, we got 360 Burial McTwists, we got board slides, we got dark slides, we've got all your favorite levels, we got the hangar, we got the warehouse, we got Marsupial, and we got all your favorite characters. We got Jeff Rowley, we got Kareem Campbell, we got Elisa Steamer, we got Papa Tony! I'm so fucking hyped, I can't take it! Okay, sorry about that. Tony Hawk Pro Skater is a series that I don't feel needs any sort of introduction. It's what put skateboarding into the mainstream and what catapulted Tony Hawk from being an already pretty successful athlete to being king of skateboarding now and forever. I'm not going to go too deep into explaining the original games because I have yet to meet a single person in my entire life at my age range who hasn't played one of these two games, but I'll do like a quick review of it. The original Tony Hawk Pro Skater and its follow-up sequel are a perfect representation of lightning striking the same place twice. Quick, addictive gameplay, killer soundtrack, and just excellent level design. I mean, I don't have a single negative thing to say about either of these games. Then, Neversoft did the impossible and kept up this level of quality in their yearly released games all the way through Tony Hawk's Underground. And then they fell off a little bit.
Thanks for delivering the double cheeseburger. The next item is a medium order of fries for shopkeeper McDougal. Don't let them get cold.
So, with the well running dry, Activision decided to do what every single major corporation does when they run out of ideas. Just fucking do the first one again. But you're not gonna see me or anybody else complaining because
that's what we've been waiting for!
I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail about what the remasters are bringing to the table. I'm just gonna sum it up as quick as I can. All your favorite levels, they're back. All your favorite moves, they're back. And all your favorite skaters, they're back, and they brought some friends too. Create-A-Skater and Create-A-Park are both coming back. Spine transfers and reverts are coming back, so you know that vert skating is actually viable. Local split-screen multiplayer is coming back. And most of the original soundtrack is coming back as well. And Vicarious Visions, the guys behind this remaster, are already coming off a very successful remaster of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Not to mention, they did almost all of the Game Boy and handheld versions of the Tony Hawk series up until like 2009. So it's safe to say that the game is in good hands. Because we already had an attempted remaster of Tony Hawk 1 and 2, and it didn't go so well. So I think people really don't want them to fuck this up. You know, people like me, people who are invested. You know, they don't want to fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that I'm invested in the series, I don't want to come off as some sort of entitled man-child, even though I probably am to some degree. I mean, I've been playing these games since I was an actual child, you know, and I didn't even understand the concept of what a video game was. I just saw flashy lights and figured out that the analog stick on my busted Nintendo 64 controller could move the little skateboard man around the course, and so that's what I would do. Then my brain developed past the, you know, primitive ape stage, and soon enough, most of my weekends were spent playing old Nintendo 64 games until way past my bedtime. But as I grew up, my overprotective parents were still very wary of me playing any game that wasn't rated E for everyone. I remember one time I borrowed the game Kingdom Hearts from my next door neighbor and brought it home to play it, and my mom, you know, was just like, that's not a good game. I don't like the cover. It's scary. I'm like, Mom, it's a Disney game. Mickey's in it. Mickey Mouse. Donald's in it.
No, you give it back to your neighbor. It's satanic. It's no good.
I don't know why my mom turned into a goblin. That was kind of weird, but you know how things are. Eventually, my family upgraded to getting a PlayStation 2, and once again, I wasn't allowed to play like teen or M-rated games, so I would have MX vs. ATV Unleashed, SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and, of course, the crown jewel, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. I played this game so much that on the zoo level, the sound effects of the monkeys in, like, the monkey room got burned into the back of my head, and I can still perfectly hear them to this day. It's like fucking tinnitus. I beat all the levels, got all the secret skaters, and played so much of the game that the soundtrack is also baked into my memory. And the cool thing about that is, despite the fact that my parents were like so desperately trying to get me to not become corrupted, I guess, this was my introduction to NWA, Gang Starr, Aesop Rock, and De La Soul. I mean, I don't know if I would have the love for hip-hop I have today if I hadn't played this game when I was a child. And I haven't even mentioned my brothers, who were super into skating at the time, because of Tony Hawk. My brothers and I got so into skating that my dad actually built like a miniature half-pipe and put it in the back of our driveway. I was playing so much Tony Hawk that my mom actually had to set up rules to stop me from playing video games as much. So, new rules were set in place and I was only playing video games on the weekends, which came just in time for Tony Hawk Underground to come out. So you know what I was doing every single weekend for the next month. But eventually, I got burnt out on Tony Hawk and I moved on. I started playing different games, watching TV a lot more, and time started moving on too. My dad tore down the half-pipe, my oldest brother went to college, my parents started arguing a lot more over things that I didn't understand at the time, and I just kind of put Tony Hawk on the back burner. As I grew up, I started spending time doing other things, playing different games, and Tony Hawk just kept getting further and further in the rearview mirror. My middle brother went off to college. I graduated high school. I went off to college. I moved out of the house. And then, suddenly, my parents got divorced. And they sold the house. And just like that, me and all my brothers made a couple more trips to the house before it changed hands, to clean out the garage, to clean out the attic, to look through all our old stuff to make sure we didn't forget anything. And in a box with piles of my other games, there it was. Tony Hawk Underground, Tony Hawk 4, and Tony Hawk 2, with its super distinct yellow cartridge. And I suddenly realized that I wasn't that kid anymore. I had changed. I had become a completely different person. All that time that I had as a kid to just pour into these games, that time wasn't around anymore. All that was left was these relics and those moments in the back of my head. So I went home, went through the rest of my week, did all of the adult things that you have to do now, and opened up my phone one morning to see the trailer. And a spark went off in my head, and I got fucking hyped. And I'm still fucking hyped right now, just thinking about it. And it got to the point where I was so hyped up that I fucking found a way to get Tony Hawk Underground 2 working on my computer. And I downloaded this mod where it has all the old Tony Hawk levels and all the, like, newer Tony Hawk levels all added into one. I'll leave a link to it in the description. But I've literally been playing this version of Tony Hawk for like 2 weeks straight. If I wasn't working on a video or wasn't at work, I would just be fucking playing Tony Hawk. I've even started playing Tony Hawk at other people's houses. Like, a good friend of mine has his old GameCube hooked up to one of his TVs, and anytime I come over there, I'm just like, we'll be talking, I'll be cracking open a beer, and then I'll be playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 for like an hour. Like, it's ridiculous. It's like I'm a kid again.